Hello everybody, the Nameless Narcissist here once again. Simple man diagnosed with NPD, giving you the facts on narcissistic personality disorder and things that go on inside my head. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe, but keep in mind, I am no clinician. I can only speak to my own experiences and the studies that I read. Okay, so I'm switching things up today, everybody. The other day, I got really frustrated because sometimes, obviously people like me are pretty confusing for you guys, but the vice versa is true as well. And sometimes I'm just like, what are you guys doing and why? So today, instead of me teaching everybody else, you guys get to teach me about why the fuck you guys do these things that I don't understand. Okay, so the first one that actually instigated me making this video was, why do people cry at weddings? I don't understand. I've heard, obviously, and this sounds so stupid or like I'm trying to be edgy or something, but it's like, obviously, I've heard the expression tears of joy. Is it actual joy? Is it joy that you're crying at? Is it a different feeling? Somebody once said it was something similar to nostalgia, which makes a lot more sense. But I don't know what that is. Well, I know what nostalgia is, but the emotion itself, I don't know what it is. And I can't imagine being so overjoyed I cry about something. Maybe like relief. I can see myself crying at relief or boredom. Like, I was literally a groomsman in my buddy's wedding, and I love my buddy, he's awesome. And like all the other groomsmen are like crying, and I'm like sitting there about to make a joke. I look over and they're all like, and I'm like, fuck, god damn it. And it's like, I really like this dude. It's just crying. It was a happy occasion. I didn't understand why crying would have been the way to go. Anyways, 2, how you can be content with being average, with just being like the top. Like, my entire life seems to be a constant fight of what is the next step, what's the next level I can get up, what's the next notch in the hierarchy I can get to. The idea of just like having like a 9 to 5 and like going to work every day and being the same as everybody else, even if you have like a family you're happy with, I would hate myself. Like, if I'm not constantly moving up. I have a friend who turned down a promotion because they enjoyed what they did right now. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? Oh my God. Like, obviously, like, conceptually, I get the idea. It's like, oh, I really enjoy this thing that I do. But I don't know how you could turn down the opportunity to advance, to move up, to be exceptional. I don't know. I don't get that one. 3, believing things are equal. When I say, or like anybody, anything, stuff like that, I also don't understand that. I've explained this in some of my other videos. And again, most of these things I conceptually get kind of, I just don't get how they make sense to people. Like, for me, if there's any difference between 2 things that can even remotely be considered in the same category, you can kind of tell which one's better. Like, if you take the sum of all of my parts and all my traits and like rank them best to worst against everybody else in the world, you're going to have a pretty definitive like measure of value compared to other people, right? The idea that 2 people can be equal, they would have to be like identical twins on steroids, like 2 people who have literally had every single experience exactly the same. Their genetics are exactly the same. Their achievements exactly the same. The people they've known have been exactly the same. Other than that, I can't see how anybody could ever be equal. 4, not caring what people think. This one is one that I'm not sure I believe anybody when they say, oh, I don't care what other people think. I know who I am. I'm comfortable in my own skin. It's like, no, you fucking aren't. Nobody's comfortable in their own skin. Okay, that one's a projection. But that's one that I really don't get either. Somebody can say something so blatantly not true or just wrong or that I find insulting, and it can bother me for like days. Like, there was this moron on Instagram trying to be like, no, you're not a narcissist, you're a borderline, your therapist told you that to make you feel better. And I want to strangle him because that's so stupid and probably the most uneducated comment I've ever gotten in my life. And I did block him eventually, but I let him just kind of fester there for a little bit because I enjoyed watching other people like tell him that he's a moron, because he was. But even that bothers me, no matter how blatantly untrue it is. That's still like I can feel my heart racing right now just because of how mad and upsetting it was to me. And along those lines, knowing who you are and not feeling empty. I mean, this one's a little bit more self-explanatory. I don't know what it feels like to not be empty. That feels weird, to be full. Like there's things in there. Like obviously there's organs and crap, but like you feel like there's things in there. I don't, like emotionally, I don't know. That one's weird to describe. And like being able to tell, like, again, being able to tell who you are without somebody telling you. This is one that I find really hard to describe. It's just that I don't know how to know who I am if somebody's not telling me who I am. Like, how do you know? How do you know if somebody's not telling you? Like, you could be like, you could just say that you're anything. And like, how do you know it's true? How do you know it's true unless somebody's telling you? Like, I can think that I'm like, you know, charismatic or whatever, but until somebody tells me that I am, like, that's probably not true. That might not be true. You know? I don't know how you guys can be confident in it. Okay. This one, like, I don't know. This one really gets me because I'm always so on the fence about it. Of like, if other people are also faking to some degree, like, right? Because like, I fake everything. Everything I do feels like it's faking a lie, and it's like a performance. Like I'm calculating every single step that I'm taking. All of it feels fake. And so I see some dude walking around being like super gregarious, being like, haha, hi, good, nice to see you, etc., etc. Is he not calculating that? Is he just being like that? Because I don't know if I even believe that, honestly. I was talking to Tess about this. Like, the idea that this guy can just naturally, just by reflex, just be this charismatic, not having to put this conscious thought into it, trying to like appeal the best that he can to people, consciously being like, I have to be gregarious, I have to be like larger than life and stuff like that. There's no way that comes naturally to anybody. There's no way. I fake it all the time. I'm only faking it all the time. Or at least it feels like I am. And like, are you just going on autopilot? You know what I mean? Like, if you're not consciously making these calculations about how you're going to present, about what you're going to do, are you just like, is it just like autopilot? Are you just kind of going through the motions? I guess I don't get how socialization works when you're not a narcissist, I suppose. And then number 7, why people like I will look at couples, and I think a lot of this is just envy, but I look at couples and I just think, but they're not perfect for each other. They're each other's soulmates. Like, how are they compatible? And it makes me wonder if there's something about being attracted to people and falling in love that I'm missing, like, entirely. Because I'm like, how are those people a couple? They're so different. Like, and I see them like sitting at like a park bench and they're just holding hands, not talking. I'm like, see, they're boring each other. Then I'm like, how are they not afraid that their partners will think that they're boring and leave them? You know? Like, the reasons why people get into relationships and the reasons why they fall in love and stuff are kind of foreign to me. I've been starting to realize. But yeah, that one confuses me as well. 8. Oh my God, like the fear of abandonment. So like, obviously, I think to some degree, everybody has a fear of abandonment. But just like the fact that like, you can, like, I guess the issue becomes that like, because for me, if I'm abandoned, like, that shit is making me sleepless for days at a time. And like, I'm not even just saying like in romantic relationships, I mean in platonic ones too. Like that shit, like I can think of like abandonments in quotes that have happened years ago that still bug me. And just everyone else seems so not bothered when they're abandoned or they abandon somebody. Like that they don't understand the gravity of abandonment. And like, I guess it makes sense that like abandonment, maybe they just don't view as many things as abandonment. Like, do you guys think you could be abandoned by like friends and stuff like that? Does that apply for you guys? Because it feels like it does for me. I just can't, like, it makes me, like, it's the worst feeling in the world. Being abandoned is by far the worst feeling in the world. Well, one of the worst feelings in the world, other than feeling worthless. But that's the thing, those are intrinsically tied. People wouldn't abandon me if I wasn't worthless. Yes, I know it's not true, I know it's not healthy, but that's what it feels like. Oh, number 9. I mean, this one's pretty self-explanatory. Just empathy in general. Like, do people just really cry because somebody around them is crying and then like feel that emotion? Like this is one that I'm always going to have a hard time believing, that like you can just feel an emotion because you see somebody else feeling that emotion. That's weird to me. Like, that's one that I don't think I'm ever even going to fully believe is a real thing. Because like I always go back and forth of, am I misinterpreting what empathy is? Maybe empathy is just something like compassion. It's not them just having a reaction to certain emotions. I don't know. Because I don't know, people to me don't seem very empathetic because they feel empathy for emotions I'm not feeling all the time. I once actually, as an experiment, I had a friend who was very attuned to empathy, empathically, and I decided that I was going to play a character, and like I let them know I was going to do this at some point so that they would know that eventually it was going to happen. But I played a character who was pretending to feel intense guilt over like having had an affair or something like that. And like in this moment, and like I told them and played out this character, and like she started crying, and I was like, man, I'm a really good actor. And I was like, was that empathy? And she was like, oh my God, yeah. I was like, I could feel that guilt and stuff like that. And I was like, well, I wasn't feeling anything though. And it was very funny because then like after I finished my performance, I was like, so anyways, did you feel anything? Just completely back to normal. Oh my God. And this one's like super like existential, I suppose, but like it's just kind of a feeling that I get around people who aren't narcissists is that like it's like you guys think that like the world's full of good people, I guess you could say. That the world isn't like out to get you, so to speak. I guess not out to get you, that's a bad word to describe how I feel about the world, but it's like people can't be trusted, people are selfish. And that seems like such an obvious truth, but the way people talk, it sounds like they have such a much more optimistic view on the value and the morality of people that I don't really understand or believe. And I think that kind of wraps it up into a good like the ultimate kind of lacking understanding part of being a narcissist is that I can't be convinced that not everybody else is narcissist, right? I have this conversation with other narcissists quite a bit where it's like, are we sure that not everybody else is just like us and we just know that we're doing it? That we're just not as run on instincts as they are? Everybody else must have the same exact motivations. I mean, that's just projection on our part, I know that. But sometimes it's really hard to wrap my mind around that and fully internalize that. It's really weird. I don't know if there'll ever be a day that I'm 100% sure that you guys aren't narcissists too. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. Please answer those questions. Take your fucking meds, please.